I was cast in The Sopranos. That was a huge moment for me as an actor because it was something I went in knowing that it was going to be an arc and knowing that it was a coveted role and a coveted show.
With a recurring character, by arc you mean that you had an opportunity to evolve as a character throughout the course of several episodes.
Exactly, yeah. So I knew they were doing something with this character and it was going to be more than just a one-off. And I had gone in for that show. I had been close to getting smaller parts. You don't know why things happen when they do. Usually you're pissed when you don't get a role, I am at least. And then something happens around the corner that you go, oh, well, I'm glad I didn't get that one. I mean, I'd gone in for tiny things and I went and I got this. Right. I went in once for Georgianne Walken, casting director. Then they bring you back in for the producers. And after that, I was told I was on the short list. So I was like, oh, wow, okay. And the closer I got to it, the more I thought, this isn't going to happen. Like, I'm not going to get, everybody wants this. I'm not going to. And then it was like, you're the front runner. And I thought, okay. And then they said, well, they just want to see a few more people. They want you to come back in. So I had to go back in the next week.
So how many auditions have you done at this point for this?
I think it ended up being 4 total before I got it. And the last one, I remember, was these 2 guys, and I remember going in the sign-in sheet, and one of the guys was with CAA, and one of them was with, I don't know who, the big agencies, and I was with a smaller agency at the time. And I remember thinking, great, yeah, they're bringing in the big guns, like I'm screwed. And I'm sitting there kind of, just preparing to go in, and David Chase comes by and taps me on the shoulder.
The producer, the creator.
The creator of Sopranos, and he's like, don't be so worried. And I'm thinking like, well, you don't be so worried, man. Like, this is a big deal. So I went in, I did it, and it was right around Christmas. I was about to get my wife a Christmas gift, and I was walking to get it, and I checked my messages, and it was Georgianne Walken, and she's like, hey, kiddo, I just wanted to let you know. And I was like, oh, fuck. And she go, you got the part, kiddo. And I was like, holy shit. So that was a huge, huge get. And when it aired, I got a lot more, it just, that show was one of those shows I was so lucky to be a part of because particularly in New York, it's like everybody, and in LA, I guess, everybody loved that show and people in the industry loved it. So at that point, rooms really started to warm up for me.
Do you look at that sort of, they talk about the big break. I mean, if you had to trace it back, would you call that at least one of them or the big break?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, you always say the break is what I used to think, like that's the break. And now I don't think it's ever the break, it's always a break. And I mean, I remember thinking when I got that role, immediately I'm thinking like, well, I'm probably going to, get a bunch of movies off this. I'm sure I'm going to be doing Letterman soon. Like that. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
But it was certainly, I got put into a nicer pool, like a smaller pool of actors now. And it just helped when, the next time you're going into a room and people have some reference point of who you are, you don't feel like you have to convince them, hey, they go, okay, well, he's done something that's noteworthy, and they just,
There's credibility in that.
Yeah.